everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well, and as I record this, we are just back from London. So you'll see in this video, I get ready to go away. So I'm frantically trying to get my washing done, and to such a point that at one time I'm actually in the dark, putting it out under my veranda. In the video, you're going to see me spend a lot of time maintaining the kitchen, sorting out my washing, maintaining my dining room. I'm really pleased that we're at a position where the dining room is really being kept quite tidy, so that really pleases me. And then you'll see a few clips right at the very end if you're interested on our London trip. So if you're not interested, you can then click off at that point. But I've just put a few clips right at the end. But on my other channel, Emma's Life in Norfolk, I do a full video talking about what we did for 3 days. We arrived on Monday, sort of late morning, and then we left late on Wednesday. So if you're interested, please do have a little look at that video on Emma's Life in Norfolk. So I hope you're all well. I've not recorded a video now for the last sort of 4 days or so. So I've had a few all lined up, but I just wanted to say a massive shout out to those of you that have just recently joined us. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Really means so much to me. I am now going to announce my next giveaway. So those of you that have been here a while will know that I did a giveaway for when we hit 4,000 subscribers. I'm going to do a giveaway for when we get to 5,000 subscribers. At the moment, we're on 4,100. So it's going to take quite some time to get to 5,000. But if you watch my videos regularly and you are not already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Doesn't cost anything. Other channels have membership fees, whereas all my videos everybody can access. So I'd really very much appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Also, I wanted to let you know how much we've raised for charity. So again, if you're new here, I regularly give away the monthly amount that I get in ad revenue. Now, I don't get that much in ad revenue, but every so often what I do get, we have a little discussion on my channel as to where it's going to go. So to give you an example, for the month of August, let's just go a little bit further back. So in terms of sort of to give you an indication as to what I get. So May it was £33, June it was 40, July was 22, August was 70, and then September was the most that I'd ever got on my channel, which was 130. Now October, so many people have been watching the video, and as I record this, we've got another whole week. And it's on £157, and all that money is going to be going to a charity called TLC, Teddies for Loving Care. Now the teddies, the man has told me, they cost the charity about £2.24, £2.26-ish. So that means that the number of teddies that they're going to be able to buy is going to be fantastic. £157.67 we're currently on. I'm so thankful to all of you. I mean, some people have gone right back to the very beginning watching videos. Someone messaged me and said they've got 60 more videos to watch. Thank you so much for being so supportive and so charitable. But it really is just so exciting to think how much we'll have raised by the end of October. So massive thank you to everybody. So the videos, as you can see, started with a few clips as to what you can expect, and then I start in the kitchen. So what I'm trying to do is just constantly keep on top of the kitchen. I do have to keep an eye on the corner there where various things get dumped and left out, but I'm making a point of washing up as I go. If something is spilt on top of the oven, then I'm trying to wipe it up so it doesn't get really bad and then need a massive great deep clean. And then also the saucepans are generally not being left out on the oven, which gives the impression of everything being a lot more clear and a lot tidier. So things, generally these sort of habits that we're bringing in, obviously it's not habit until we've been doing it for quite some time, but also my husband is washing up as he goes as well. So I think because we're doing them sort of a little bit of washing up throughout the day, we're just not getting into a situation where there's loads on the side at the end of the day, then you don't feel like doing it, then it gets left to the next day, then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So this does seem to be working. You can see the orange tape is still on my windows. So later on this day, that I was working in the kitchen, my husband goes outside and he's now painted all this, and he takes that orange tape, it's frog tape. And when I saw that he'd put that on there, I said to him, "Oh, don't you remember? We vowed never to use that frog tape again. Not only is it really expensive, when we peeled it, it just literally, paint had gone under it, that took paint with it." And I thought, never again, what a complete waste of time. But then what he then realised, he pulled a piece and that exact thing happens. Loads of paint came with it. And then he realised that if he just did a real kind of light scoring with a knife and then pulled the tape up, that then didn't damage the paintwork, which was a relief. So as I now watch this video back, we have had some days of absolute torrential rain. And unfortunately, the washing that's sitting out there that you're looking at the moment isn't exactly the same position at the moment. And I think that must have got some rain on it. Not that I mind particularly, it's just that I would like it dry at some point soon. And of course, because the weather's changing, I might get to a point where it does become dry, but I can't stop it from not being damp. And that's where I'll just have to then bring in this clothes airer, stand it in the dining room for like one day, and that probably will be enough to take the damp from it, if you see what I mean. But we've had some really, really rainy weather. Like for instance today, been absolutely torrential rain. I think the reason why it looks like I've got so much washing is that my husband's DIY clothes are there, my gym clothes are there, and then just our general clothes from the week. So it all just builds up, doesn't it? I know that I have spoken before about not really having many clothes, and a few people have said, "Oh, you know, I can't believe that. Get all your clothes out, put them all in one place and sort through them." But I do not have clothes like a lot of people do. I mean, when I've watched Diane in Denmark, both when she first started and now, she has like probably about 50 times more clothes than me. I can't believe, when looking at her wardrobe, how many clothes that she has. I mean, with my clothes, like I've said to you before, I wear them literally until they have got holes in, falling to pieces, and then they just get put in the rag bag or put in the bin. And I don't have large number of clothes. My jeggings I sort of wear quite regularly. When it gets to a point where they get a hole in my knee or a hole at the top, like where your legs rub at the top of the trousers, and the hole gets so bad and it can't be repaired, then I get rid of it. But I really don't have that many. But at some point I might think about getting all my clothes out in one place, just to be more organised with where the clothes are. Because I think this is my big issue with not putting clothes away, is because it's so hard to put them away. I just lack storage space. Lots of things gets crushed into those drawers. Yes, I know you're thinking it. My husband's drawer still is not fixed. So I'd like to help him put his clothes away, but that's not fixed. And I do think it's a good idea. Someone suggested another little like small chest of drawers where that ottoman is. I don't like that ottoman. We've had that for years. I'm really not very keen. And I could potentially replace that with some sort of useful storage. So I'm going to go through some of your comments now. So thank you so much for adding comments to my channel. I absolutely love reading through the comments and reading about your suggestions, your ideas, and what you're all up to. It's so lovely to get to know a number of you in the way that I have. So the first comments that I wanted to read through was from Wenda Jones, 9040. And Wenda puts, my hairdresser is a very good colourist and coloured my hair for years with highlights. When I reached 70, I decided it was time to go natural, although I do sometimes use a foam colour that just takes the edge off and washes out but doesn't colour the white and looks natural. You really need a good colourist. It was one of the few things I actually spent money on, as colouring myself was never successful and a real faff. Your hair is beautiful. I really think you could find a good colourist as you are still young. Or just embrace the grey, as they say. Your hair will be beautiful anyway. That's really interesting, Wenda, and thank you for your suggestion. I don't really know what to say in terms of finding a good colourist. Because, like I said, I think it's 4 different people that have coloured my hair, and that all of them absolutely shocked as to how quickly my hair takes the colour. Literally like zaps all of the colour. And then we've had this situation where you can tell the hairdressers are panicking, or, I mean, my main hairdresser that I've been going to for years, she's got her own salon, and when I was having highlights, probably once a year, my hair, that takes about 5 to 6 hours. And so people aren't that keen on doing it because they give one price for long hair. And then when you work out what her hourly rate is, that takes so long to do it, which is why that man, and he was a really well-known colourist and highly sort of respected, but he did some big sections in the back, and I think it was because he got fed up with how long it was taking and he'd got his next appointment coming up. Next comment is from Cami Hell. Hello, Cami, how are you? Cami says, you're doing so great, keeping your kitchen clean. It's amazing. You're doing amazing in the kitchen these days. Wow. I never got rid of my kids' stuff either. I know, it's tricky, isn't it? Knowing what to keep hold of and what to get rid of. It's definitely been a useful discussion to have with a number of you about the fact that some plastic is going to go brittle. So I have let some things go because I thought, if I keep hold of it, actually it's not going to be any good and it's going to prevent someone else from using it. And by the time, if my daughter does have children, or by the time I get it out for a great niece or nephew or something, it's all going to be brittle and need to go in the bin anyway. Faith D says, kitchen looks great. No adverts in this video. Now, thank you for those of you that are telling me when there's no adverts. That seems that sometimes YouTube are changing my settings so that no adverts are added to the middle of the videos, and I don't know why that's happening, so thank you for letting me know. Cynthia Miller says, hello Emma, watching you go up and down your stairs to do your work makes me so glad I live in a 1-storey house. I'm going to say a prayer that you and your husband can get that drawer repaired. It's so crucial to getting your laundry in your bedroom in order. While you're at it, see if we will declutter some things. Today we did 1 load of laundry, took out the rubbish, cleaned up after the kitty, ordered groceries, swept the kitchen and the living room floors. Pretty good for 2 old coots. Oh, Cynthia, you're always so busy. You work so hard. I think that's fantastic, all the things you managed to get done. In terms of decluttering, I think the way that works quite well with my husband, and when I get into that drawer, this is what I will do. I'll just go through his things, put a pile together of all the things that I feel can go, and then normally I just say, are you happy for these to go? And he'll have a quick look and say, yes, they can all go. That did make me laugh though. The other day, I did the washing, I folded everything up, I put all his washing, took it all upstairs and put it on his side of the bed. And there was one particular top which he's probably had 2 years ago. I think he got it for a birthday present from somebody. If I'm completely honest, I never really liked it, but he's worn it quite a lot for work. Blue is one of the colours that suits him, so he wore it for work, wore it with some nice chinos, and that was fine. He also does sometimes wear it like socially too. But as I looked at it and I took it off the dryer and folded it up, I thought, really, I'm going to say to him, I don't think you can wear that out of the house anymore. That now needs to go to the relegation of decorating top or rags. Can you guess what happened? The very next morning, because it was on the top of the pile, he was wearing it. And I think it's partly because it's so comfortable, really lovely fabric. So yeah, I think that anything is, even like when I put the washing away, same with my daughter. I put her washing away and she'll put whatever is on the top on, the next day, and I said to her, "Oh, did you get that from your drawer?" "Yes." "It was on the top, wasn't it?" "Yes." Jules by Jackie said, "Have you ever thought about moving the dining table over to the wall and open the floor space in front of the fireplace? I think it would be a way to allow the focal point when you come into the room to be the fireplace and create a better flow to the door of the garden." I can see what you mean. Someone else said this as well, but I think that wouldn't create a better flow, because you'd, rather than going directly from the door off the hall to the back door, you'd have to walk around the table. And then rather than the focal point of the room being the table and the centre being the dining area, that would just become a walkway. That's how I feel. But I'm happy to listen to ideas. Michelle's Marinette Antoy says, "Our police service gives away teddies too. They run drives for those donations. But recently, at the ER, I noticed a stash of teddies partially hiding too." Oh, that's nice. Now, Rainey Milliman has also commented about this idea about moving the table. Hello, Rainey. Rainey says, "I saw someone else wondered about moving your dining room table against the wall. Previously, I thought it was because of the things that were against the wall and in the corner that kept you from putting the table there. Well, now that you have eliminated everything against that wall, it would seem a good idea to move the table there. It would take getting used to, but it would open exposure to the fireplace as more of a focal point. Also, is your table at its smallest point? It would seem it would be more than big enough for 3 of you. If there was a leaf that can be removed, just curious. You would get used to changing your trajectory to access the door, etc. I think it would work to your advantage and look more open and roomier." I really think it could work. Interesting. I mean, there's a couple of things that we need to think about. There's a radiator on that wall, so I'm not sure it's a good idea to put the table right up against that wall unless I turn the radiator off. Also, I think it's important to think about the purpose of the room, and the purpose of the room is that it's a space, a dining space, and a space for my daughter to do her homework. She does her homework at that table. Maybe I should move it over and try it. Yes, the table is at its smallest points, and in my personal opinion is too big for the room. The table and chairs were given to us, and I like them, and we were very pleased to have them. But the people that had them, they had like a big open plan dining room and kitchen area. So it sort of worked for them. That was probably the size if we knocked through the dining room and kitchen. So it worked for them. I would much rather have a smaller table. But the challenge comes when you start looking to find something that's to our taste, that's as good quality. And I looked in John Lewis a few months ago. I put a little clip of it actually on the end of one of my videos. And it was perfect design, perfect size. So it was smaller, but you could extend it if you wanted, because that's the great thing about ours. You can make ours really quite big. But you should see the quality to make it smaller and make it bigger. I could not believe that John Lewis was selling it. It was really poor quality. So it's a little bit like it took us ages to get a new sofa because we just couldn't find one that we liked. I searched for absolutely ages. And with the price of furniture nowadays, there's no way that I'm going to get something unless it's really, really exactly what I'd like. So with the fact that it's going to be quite hard to find exactly what I want at the moment, that's the table and chairs that we're going to keep. Sandy says, "I love your dad's reply on the cot. Looking very organised lately. You're making great progress. The tiles look awesome. Your husband did a great job." Oh, thank you very much, Sandy. I'll let him know that you said that. Chris has sent a heart on the post. Next comment is from Christian Souza. It says, "Dear Emma, have you ever considered organising one room at a time? There's no room in your dresser. There's no more room in your dresser, so take advantage of the change of seasons and recycle. Your daughter's room probably has a lot of clothes that no longer fit or that she doesn't like anymore, just like your husband's. Plan a day with them for this transformation. It'll be beneficial for everyone. I'm prouder of you every day. Thank you very much for your comment. That's very kind. I have in the past thought about doing one room at a time. You'll notice that I do focus on an area and kind of focus on clearing out a cupboard or clearing out of shelves. But I hope what I'm trying to do is really about real life. This is, yes, I'm trying to declutter. Yes, I'm trying to become tidier, but I also am running the house. And so if you had, an incredible amount of time, you would just take everything out of one room and then you'd put only things back that you wanted in that room, wouldn't you? But when I'm like working full-time hours in several jobs and running my own business and doing all the things in the house, that makes it a little bit harder. So that's why instead I've tried to focus on the approach of like onion layers. And that has really suited me as well. I've got rid of a lot in this way because when I first look through an area, clear out a drawer or clear out a cupboard, I get rid of quite a lot of the contents. But then a few months later, I go back to it. Maybe it starts getting a little bit untidy. I need to sort it again. And then I get rid of a whole load more. So that has worked well. But keep the ideas and suggestions coming because they're all good and they're all sort of different things to explore and consider. Next comment is from Angela Work, and Angela says, well done going to the gym. I overdid it yesterday, so just a light workout today. Not sure what happened today, but I've been in the go up to 7:25. Was pleased to see your video to sit down. On the go until 7:25. Oh my goodness, it was a long day for you then. Goodness me. Tracy Force says, oh, bless the hedgehog. Emma, you're doing so well at keeping on top of your kitchen. Now, I've got news on the hedgehog. He or she stayed with me for about a week. When I got back from London and checked, gone. Disappeared. So I pulled back the cover, and it's lovely what is actually done. So he's got that plastic bag that is pulled from somewhere. He tucked the plastic bag underneath the pink cloth, underneath the fluffy coat, and then also put all moss in there. So maybe he or she will be back. Maybe he or she has now gone to hibernate somewhere properly. Who knows? Deja Grenage says, hello, beautiful lady. You are still doing an amazing job. Stacey from Virginia. Thank you very much. CB-PO2IQ. I hope you know if that's you. Says, hello from Florida. The hedgehog looks quite big. Do they usually stay still like that? Like a turtle, lol. Now this hedgehog is particularly big. This hedgehog was particularly big. He's not making that entrance area his home anymore. Much bigger than what they normally are. Almost double the size, which was why my friend, who's a bit of a hedgehog expert, wondered whether it could be a pregnant female, which is concerning at this time of the year. But because our seasons have been so changeable, it's quite possible. At the moment, the rescue centres have got a lot of pregnant females and also lots of babies who, of course, which will not survive the winter without help. And they do stay still like that. Not during the night time. They can really get a shift on. They can run quite fast. Once in the daytime, one was running along the pavement, and I managed to stop it, picked it up with gloves and took it off the pavement and put it into the garden because I was so worried that only needed to literally turn off the pavement and onto the road and it would have been squashed. So I managed to save it. Linda Thornton says, wonderful, blessings to you. Thank you very much, Linda, and thanks for all the videos you've been watching and all the comments you've added to really old videos. Thank you ever so much. So I've had a good few days, and like I said, we've been to London for a few days. So Sunday I spent time getting ready and getting organised, getting prepared. My husband sorted out all our tickets for everything and booked everything for us. That was good. So me and my daughter went to London. I think we got the 9:30 train from Norwich. So arrived in London sort of late morning, just before lunch. I'd say the biggest challenge when we go away is probably in relation to food. There's only, well, not many places at all that we actually trust in terms of eating out. And I had great problems with the hotel for breakfast. So Monday, we were so busy. I mean, my goodness, we should have had a step counter on. I'd love to have known how many steps we did. We saw so much. We went to Oxford Street, Regent Street, Piccadilly Circus, Carnaby Street, Spitalfield Market, Herd of Hope. Sort of walked around lots of the sort of famous landmarks. Went to the Natural History Museum. So we had a really lovely time. The first night we went to Nando's, who are absolutely amazing with allergies, and we did the same thing for Tuesday and Wednesday. They're just really, really very, very good and check everything and are so careful and thorough. The Tuesday morning we'd organised to have breakfast at the hotel, but I did not save my alarm. And we went to Phantom of the Opera on the Monday night. So we had a late night, and so in the morning, I hadn't saved it. So I woke up and it was 20 to 10 and breakfast finishes at 10. So we put our clothes on, ran down, must have looked half asleep, and just said, look, would it be better, because my daughter's got allergies, I need to explain about what she can and can't have, would it be better to roll forward the breakfast to tomorrow if that's possible? So she said, oh, well, I'm sure we could. And I said, well, it's like 10 to 10. I said, can you stay in the restaurant areas much after 10? She said, a little. And I thought, oh, all this money I've spent for breakfast, I don't really want to be there for 15 minutes and have to feel like your food's being rushed. So we moved it forward to the next day. Oh, but goodness me. Bearing in mind that last time they were amazing, this time, first of all, the manager came out with this declaration, which they expected me to sign, which basically said we can really try hard and we can kind of check things, but all of the food might have all of the allergens in. And of course, I know that there's all of the allergens in the kitchen, but I'm not going to sign any disclaimer. I'm not going to put my name in basically saying I accept that any allergens could be present in the food. And I also think that they potentially won't be so careful when they have these disclaimers signed. So I said, well, could it be possible that the hash brown could have been sitting on cheese or sitting on egg? They said, oh, no, of course not. I said, well, it's not a problem if there's cheese in the kitchen. It's only a problem if the food has touched the cheese. So the lady really sort of was saying, I said, are you then saying that you're not able to provide food? She said, no, I'm not saying that. I said, well, I'm not happy. I feel that this is discrimination. I feel this is a breach of the Equalities Act, and I'm not happy. So I said, I'd like to speak to another a manager. She said, I am a manager. I said, okay, well, the manager of the hotel. So a little while later, this man came up. His English was very, very good, and her English was very, very good, but their English was not to the level where they could actually understand what I was saying. So I said to the man, this is how I feel. That declaration, I feel, is the same as if I arrived at the hotel, or someone arrived in the hotel and they were in a wheelchair and they had to sign a declaration which said, we are putting you in an accessible room. However, during your stay, you may be required to climb stairs. He did not listen to what I was saying. He said, oh, they do have to sign a declaration. They have to fill in a PEEP. Well, I know what a PEEP is. They don't need to explain to me what that is. I said, no, that's not what I mean. I feel like this is equivalent to you giving a form to someone who's in a wheelchair who can't walk and saying to them, you may have to climb some steps during your stay. He said, oh, that's not the same. I said, well, I feel that it is the same. Anyway, 40 minutes into this whole thing, he then said, no, you don't have to sign the form. He said, and let's work out what she can have. So bear in mind that I had arrived 40 minutes before and said last time we came she had free from bread, baked beans and hash browns. I'd already said that. 50 minutes into sitting there, she's getting hungrier and hungrier. I have not got my food because I'm not going to get my food and sit and eat food in front of her. And they came out with this sheet, and on it that said baked beans, free from bread, bacon, apple and banana in the whole of the restaurants. They couldn't do hash browns because they weren't prepared to cook hash browns in a separate pan or separate oven. Okay, not expecting any special treatment. But we don't eat any pork, do we? So pork was off the menu. So wouldn't have bacon because she doesn't eat pork. So they literally had suggested what I had walked into the restaurant and said 50 minutes. So I said, oh right. He said, and you just have to be so careful. I said, yes. And I said, I wanted to get some jam. And I'd gone over to the sort of the main kitchen area to get some jam for her free from bread. And the lids were all off and there was bits of bread inside the jam. So I said to the lady, is it possible to have either little packs of jam or a fresh jam? She doesn't understand what I mean. As soon as I said it to him, he instantly knew. Yeah, absolutely fine. Even though I had explained to her, that's because of the allergies. And what I find is when someone has been touched by allergies or intolerances themselves, then they get it. And then they can show a little bit of empathy. So we eventually got the beans came out, the free from bread came out, and she then said something about mushrooms. She's never liked mushrooms, but I inquired about them and they did cook her mushrooms separately because they usually cook mushrooms with butter. So they did that. But this man, who's really lovely, and because he completely got it, and he came up and said, if there's anything else that you want, let me know because I know how difficult it is for my niece. So I thought, even though we had the challenge, and it had just taken so long for just such a small amount to be produced, this free from bread, which is all in a sealed packaging, some baked beans and some mushrooms to be put together. He was very kind, so that meant a lot. But so overall, the trip to London went really well. The only thing that I found a bit difficult this time was people not speaking English. But that, I guess, is a story for another day. So I'm right at the very end of the video today. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. I've left you with a couple of clips from our London trip. You can see Liberty London. You can see John Lennon sitting on the bench there. The tube station and the tube train going very quickly, as it always does. The herd of elephants, which I was so glad that we found those. So thank you very much for your support. Thank you for your kindness, your suggestions, all the comments that you add to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye!